If you're looking to add some toner hot foiling into your crafter's toolbox, stick around for some tips and tricks to get you started on the right path. Every technique video is narrated live while I'm doing the technique, so you're getting a real-time view of how the whole process works. Pull out the supplies I'm using and create right along with me, pausing as you need. Before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it. Hey, welcome to my tabletop. I've got a wide view here today because I wanted to show you my laminator. I'm not using a Mink machine. I'm using a general office laminator that I've had for years in our household, and it works great for my hot foiling. So if this is something that you've been interested in and you already have a laminator in your house, or you can't find a Mink machine, or you want to get something that's a little bit more diverse and you want to get a laminator, know that this will work with the toner card fronts and toner foils available through ThermoWeb and Decofoil, iCraft, etc. So this is the one that I'm using, and you just need to make sure that it goes up to a 5 mil setting. And I'm going to go ahead and get this set up and turned on in our next scene here. But before we move on, I want to show you some of the supplies we'll be using. So when you are using a laminator like this, you want to get foils that say use with adhesives and toner sheets. Okay, so this is the kind of thing that is going to work with a laminator. It's going to work with some other materials as well. So like those adhesives will allow this to just stick and adhere. You don't have to run it through a hot foil or a laminator. You can use it in other ways. You can even use an iron. You can use sprays and other tapes and things like that. But it will work with a laminator. So you want to make sure that it says adhesives and toner sheets. This is the right kind of foil to be using for your laminator and the toner card fronts. So there's different brands. A lot of them are through ThermoWeb, and they've got a lot of different branded ones with different designers. Lots of fun. They also carry the toner card fronts, which is the fun part. So you can start getting patterns and shapes and really cool things to add into the foils. So that way you're not always just doing kind of your own freehand thing. You can actually use some pre-designed things that they have available for you. So those are what we're going to be using for this demonstration. All right, so when you get foil, it does come with a piece of parchment paper inside that you can use to create your little foil sandwiches to run through your laminator or your Mink machine. All right, and what you want to end up with is something that is beautiful like this. It's got foil over all of those edges, and it looks absolutely perfect. What you might end up with sometimes is spotty foil. So do you see how like right here, it's still black no matter what angle I put it at? There is no foil on this little spot. There's foil in some places, but not all places. So I want to run this through with something that's got a little bit more toner on it so you can see what that looks like. So I've got my toner foil sheet. All right, so this is just my toner transfer. It's a white cardstock with that black toner on it. You can print out your own items from a laser printer as well. Just make sure that the setting is for grayscale and it's only using black toner. This is the only way that it transfers well. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put our foil on top of that. And normally you would just put it in a sandwich with your piece of parchment that has come with this and run it through your machine. So let's see how this turns out. All right, so this is run through my machine once, and what I'm going to do is just do a little pullback to see what's going on here. So I did get transfer, but as you can see, there's a line down the center here and then around the circles. So this didn't really transfer super well, and it may not be the outcome that you wanted, right? So there's a few things that we can try to fix this, and we'll give it a try here. I'm going to go ahead and flip this around so that it's going into my machine the other direction. And we'll give that a try and see if it helps to stick down any of the excess toner. All right, so when I went ahead and ran that through the machine again, I did not get a lot of that to re-adhere, and it just didn't really turn out quite well. So let me share with you a few things that I found that helped me to get better results. Okay, so first of all, even though it comes with this nice piece of parchment paper and it's supposed to work really well, I find that it's not working super great with my laminator. So I've created a little jig that I use instead. Basically, it's a piece of white cardstock, and this is just standard 80-pound white cardstock. And then I took one of those sheets, the parchment sheets, and I just cut a little lip on it. You see this little lip here? So I put my piece of cardstock in here, and I have this little lip. You see how that is? And I find that this works a little better, and it might be for a few reasons. One, because when I put my toner sheet down, now it's got something a little bit more solid to sit on, and it's not going to flex and bend as it goes through my laminator. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to add my piece of foil on top of that. I'm going to butt both of those right up against the edge of my little fold here, right? I can get that all in there perfectly. It's staticky, so that's a good thing. You kind of want it to stick and be nice and flat. All right, so I'm going to get that all down in place. And right up against this edge here. So now, as you can see, I'm not going to have a piece of parchment over the top. And that's going to help avoid getting a little crease like we did right here. And then it's also going to help avoid getting extra waves. I found that if your parchment ends up getting a little crinkly, it will leave little extra waves and things in your foil, and that transfers to the toner underneath, and you'll get skips and misses. So by putting just the foil straight through across the top, I find that this works actually better. So I'm going to run this through. Again, we've got our little flap here holding everything in place, so that way when it goes through the laminator, it has something to grab onto. So I'm going to go ahead and run this through. All right, so this is run through my machine once, and I can already see that there are good things going on here. So you see these little lines here that are nice and pressed down to the paper. That's where the toner is, and I have really good contact in all those places. These other little ripply areas I'm not concerned about, because that's where the white cardstock is, or actually in this case the craft cardstock, and it's not going to get the toner on it anyway. But what I'm noticing is that I have a little bit of lift on this edge here, and that was the edge that went underneath my little lip here. And you see how perfect that is? So what I'm going to do is just flip this 180 degrees and get it right back underneath that lip there. So that way this side can get hit with the direct heat without that extra parchment over the top of it. And that's really going to help me get the best imprint possible. All right, so here we are. This is run through both directions, and you can see that it's got really great contact on all of those lines. So now when I pull this up, I have a perfect result. I don't have any skips or anything like this first one here. And I'm really, really happy with that. And that's going to be just grand for a new project that I have in mind. So there you go. I hope that you have learned a few things about using your toner foil sheets and a laminator or your ink machine. And these tips give you some help with creating the perfect imprint every time. I hope you enjoyed this technique and you add it into your toolbox sometime soon. When you give it a try, share it out on Instagram and tag me at Nicole Creates. I always love to see what your creative mind is thinking. Thank you so much for spending a little time with me today. And until next time, happy crafting.